Yes, this truly is the day that the Lord has made, and I am determined, and I know you are too, determined to be glad in it. Not just a saying, because the fact that you are still alive means that if as long as you have a pulse, you still have a purpose. Well, I'm Evangelist Cheryl Boggs, and I'm going to be your Bible encourager for the next couple of hours. And I've got some friends that are coming along to help me with that to get your week started out great. Did I say great? Yeah, because it's a BEA beautiful day here in the Dallas, Texas, and surrounding areas. Listen, I just got back from Hawaii. Yes, the weather was perfect. It was like 85, no rain. I went snorkeling. Yeah, saw some beautiful fish. They were like, there's some turtles out there. I'm going, okay. But you can't pet them. You ain't got a problem with me. I'm not. Ain't that you don't have no problem with me. But it was wonderful. I'm very thankful to the Lord for a safe trip and just a wonderful time. And I pray that your Labor Day was wonderful as well. And so that's, what's going on. Hey, today I'm going to be talking in the second hour about what are you giving birth to? This is the ninth month. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. It's not late. It's not too late. You are right on time. No matter what the calendar says, God doesn't go by our calendar. He goes by his calendar. So what are you giving birth to? Faith or fear? We're going to talk about that. So like my intro always says, call, text, or email a friend. Say, hey, the Cheryl Boggs Show is on the air. And she's going to be talking about some good stuff. Get us encouraged, get us motivated, get us moving. This is September, y'all. Yeah, it's going to be good. All right, let's see what else I have to say. Did I already tell you that it's a BEA beautiful day and the Lord is good and you are blessed and highly favored? Yeah. Yes, you. All right. Well, like I said, stay tuned for the second hour because I'm going to be sharing some really good stuff. All right. Well, it's time for you and I to be empowered and joy.
Sweet girl with a lot of friends, smiles big but it's all pretend. If only they could see inside all the pain right behind her eyes. Dad left and mom doesn't know. A little angel still trying to cope. Lost faith in what the future holds, yet there still is hope. You gotta get up. You've been knocked down, but the fight's not over yet. You gotta get up. Don't be burdened by thoughts of regret. You gotta get up. I know you're tired, come too far to give up now. You gotta get up. God will see you through there. Congregation stood on their feet, celebrating the message preached, not knowing all the tears he cried, while fighting thoughts of suicide, depression, anxiety, facing battles we cannot see, feeling defeated. He can't believe that he can still be free. Yes, you can still be free. You gotta get up. You've been knocked down, but the fight's not over yet. You gotta get up. So don't be burdened by thoughts of regret. You gotta get up. I know you're tired, come too far to give up now. You gotta get up. So God will see you through there. Remember who you are. You're still a shining star. You've endured all the pain and the shame that was rendered. So get back on your feet and claim the victory. Maybe down but not out, so don't you surrender. Oh, you gotta get up. Yes, God will see you through it. Everything, everything, God will see you through it. So get back up, so get back up. You gotta get up. Yes, 'cause God will see you through it.
Yes, Lord, I still believe in you. And those songs, they hit a little different when you're facing obstacles, facing mountains, facing insurmountable odds. When you're looking at it and you're like, it hasn't happened yet. But Lord, I'm still going to believe you. It looks like it's never going to happen for me. It looks like no matter what it looks like, there are obstacles in all of our lives. There are situations in all of our lives that look hopeless. At times, it looks like things are never going to change. It looks like, um, does God even care? Does anybody care? Does anybody see? Does anybody care what I'm going through? I've been in this situation. You may be in the hospital. You may been wanting a new job, wanting to have a child, wanting to start a family, wanting another car because the one you got keep breaking down. Whatever the circumstance, we all have something in our lives that we're looking at and we're saying, okay, is anything going to change? Will I be at this dead end job forever? Will I be able to move forward? So we have all of these questions, and prayerfully, I'm going to help you answer some of them today and to encourage you on your way. Well, I'm Evangelist Cheryl Boggs. You're listening to The Cheryl Boggs Show, resting in His Word, heard here live every Monday, 6-5 Central, right here in Fishbowl Studios, as well as churchtalkmedia.net, as well as Church Talk Radio on Facebook and Cheryl Boggs Media page and Cheryl Boggs page. I want to give a shout out to my big sis. Hey, Mitty. Mildred Lewis is my big sister, and I'm glad that she is on today. And so I was thinking about and praying about what to share today. And it just came to me that, okay, we're in September, we're in the ninth month. And I may get this wrong, so some of y'all may, try to help me. But there was this little cartoon thing, and it was a conversation between an elephant and a dog, and the dog was being very arrogant and saying, "Listen, you're still pregnant, and I've had at least, two pregnancies, three, and each time I've given, birth to 12 puppies, sometimes 10, sometimes 16, and you're still pregnant." And I thought about that this morning and what the elephant had to say. Well, just FYI, the elephant stays pregnant for 2 years. Two. Okay. And the dog, they be get pregnant, and I'm like, whoop, there's 16 babies. Whoop, there's 12 babies. Whoop. And so, like I said, the dog was being arrogant, and the elephant said to the dog, because when I have a baby, the earth shakes. Something happens when I birth out a baby. Okay, so it does take longer Yes, so it looks like nothing is going to happen. Yes, you're popping out babies. You see where I'm going? You may be looking at someone else's life and you're saying, man, they're so far ahead of me and they've got this and they've got that and they've got the other. And here I am still pregnant, still carrying this baby, still carrying this dream, still carrying this vision. And how come mine hasn't come to pass yet? And they just keep, these people done got promoted. They done got new cars. They done got new husbands. They done got new wives. I'm still waiting on my husband. I'm still waiting to have that relationship. I'm still waiting to have a baby. And then this lady next to me is popping out children like popcorn. And I'm still waiting to on my promise. Could it be? Could it be that when that dream, when that vision, when that job, when that baby, when that promotion, when that house, when that new car, when all of that happens, could it be? I want you to think about this. Could it be that it hasn't been birthed yet because it's going to make a difference in this world and in this life? Yes, some things happen quickly. Yes, some people could be racing ahead of you and you're on the sideline going, seriously? But I want you to think about what it is that you're carrying. Like that elephant, 2 years of carrying something on the inside. You may be saying, well, Cheryl, I've been carrying this dream. I've been working this dream. And it just seems like every time I take 2 steps forward, I take another step back. When is it going to be my turn? My thing to you today is when you're birthing something great, when you're birthing something that is going to last, when that elephant comes out already probably a whole ton. I was, like I said, I was in Hawaii, was it last week? But the last time, I've been there a couple of times, been there a lot actually. Very fortunate. And I remember one time I was there and on Waikiki. I like that. When I was on that island, I walked down to the zoo, and there was this big elephant that was just right there, and I was like so enamored with the. I mean, they are enormous. Okay, they're enormous when you see it on TV, but when you see them in person, I was just sitting there like, wow. And then when I saw that little cartoon thing, and I said, wow, can you imagine carrying something that's maybe, I mean, that is when it comes out, it's going to shake the world. Is it possible that that vision and that dream that God placed inside of you that is taking so long, could it be that God is preparing you for when that dream does come to pass? Could it be that the circumstances surrounding the vision, the dream, the job, could it be the timing of God? Now, his timing is perfect. His timing is not our time, and that's for sure. But when it does happen, have you ever noticed that when we get ahead of God, or when we try to figure out things for ourselves and we go and, well, I'm tired of waiting, and you go marry Bob and you should have waited on Jim, and you're like, oh Lord, now you got to figure out how to get, with Jim, whichever Jim, now you got to figure out how to get out of this relationship with Jim because the real relationship, Bob, has come. Case in point, you Ishmael, because you did not wait on Isaac. Is it easy to wait? Of course not. Is there safety in waiting? You better believe it. It is there safety. But the point is today is that whatever is on the inside of you that is still needing to be birthed, you're either going to birth it in faith, or you're going to birth it in fear, you're going to birth it in bitterness, are you going to birth it in believing? Are you going, how are you going to birth it? And this just came to me. And don't get mad. But let's say you've been waiting and waiting on something and you're wanting this to be birthed, and then when it finally comes, you just got your attitude is so wrong, and you can't even appreciate it when you get it. Why? Because you got it either prematurely or you decided, I don't even want it. I don't even want it no more. But my message to you is, could it be that what you're birthing and what God has placed inside of you is taking a while because of the fact that when it does come forth, it's going to shake. It's going to shake the world. It's going to shake the ground. And what I mean by shaking the ground is it's going to make a difference. Some things may be in a hurry, and some things people may get in a hurry. But think of it like this: if you're going to build a skyscraper, if you're going to start a business that's going to last more than a year, if you're going to do something great for God, there has to be a foundation. There has to be, let me say, the higher the building is going to be, then the deeper the foundation has to be. Follow this. If you're going to build a chicken coop, you don't need to dig a foundation like you would for a skyscraper. You can just dig the hole, put in a little bit of fence, put in a little bit of wire, and whoop, whoop, there it goes. But if you're going to have something that's going to be 28 floors high, going to be 30 floors high, even 16 floors high, you're going to have to go deep. You're going to have that foundation is going to have to be, I don't know if digged, is Doug a word? But you're going to have to dig it. You're going to have to go deep. You're going to have to go deep. Just because yours is taking longer doesn't mean it's not going to happen. What are you birthing? The Bible tells us that God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. When things are taking longer, does the spirit of fear come into play? Yes, it can. Because you're looking at it going, oh man, why? If you're anything like me, I'd be like, seriously? That's my word. I don't know where it really came from, but every time like something is going on and I'm looking at it, I'm going, man, seriously? Is this what we're doing? Seriously? But then when I look back on the things that I wanted it to hurry up, those things don't, sometimes they don't last. Just because something goes up fast doesn't mean it's going to stay up. Because gravity does come into play. But when you build on that foundation and you take that time and you're spending that time with the Lord and you're saying, God, I don't understand why this is taking so long, but I'm going to still believe, like the song says, Lord, I believe you. And I believe that you can do the impossible, and you will do the impossible for me. All things are possible to them that believe. Look that scripture up. All things are possible to them that believe. And you're looking around and you're like, oh my goodness, why? Why? Okay, y'all know if you've been around me half a second, you know my personality. So I just saw, this little quick picture in my mind about the three little pigs and the wolf. Boy, I'm really telling my age today. This is something I heard. No, and the story goes, and I may mess it up because I haven't heard it in a long time, but there were three little pigs, and one built their house on sand. I don't know if it was sand. And one built it out of wood, and one built it out of bricks. Now, I don't remember what the first one was. It was either sand or, anyway, it wasn't very stable. Okay. And the wolf came and he huffed and he puffed and he blew the first house down. And then they came to the second house that was built on wood, and he huffed and he puffed and he blew that house down. But the house that was built on bricks, or with bricks, built on that rock, built on a firm foundation, he huffed and puffed and huffed and puffed and still could not blow that down. So I'm saying to you, is it quite possible that what you're building and what you're birthing is going to be built on, or built with bricks, not with sticks, and not with just sand, or um, is it possible? And I think it is. And I want you to look at it like this, because it's never too late. It's never too late to fulfill what God has placed inside of you. Oh, I'm 60 years old. Oh, I'm 40 years old. Oh, I'm this, that, and the other. I have, young people. I'm 25. It hasn't happened yet. I'm 30. And they're like, okay. And you want to look at them and go, really? You know how much longer you have to live? Yeah, no. But when you're 25, when you're 30, you feel like, oh my gosh, when you're 30, you think 60 is old. When you get 40, you think 60 is still young. When you get 60, you be like, maybe 70 and 80. But whatever the age that you find yourself in, that's where your faith in God has to kick in. Lord, I believe you. I believe in who you are and that you can do the impossible for me. Lord, I believe it's true. What you say, your word is life to my soul. I believe that you love me. Lord, I do. Lord, I still believe in you. That's what that song was all about that I played at the top of the hour. Lord, I still believe. I want you to still believe. Believe in the impossible. Believe that God is still able. And I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to myself as well. Because there are times when you want to look at the situation, no matter what it is, and be like, I'm good. I'm tired of waiting. Maybe that wasn't the Lord. Maybe it's time for me to give this up. Maybe, I mean, you can make all kind of excuses. It's easy to make excuses. It's a little more difficult to stay in there, plant your feet and say, I'm going to still believe. And and I want you to have this in your mind as well. You're on the side and people are running, and they're running the race, and you're on the side with your pom poms. Woo, go, woo, woo. And you're cheering them on. And I'll tell you what the Holy Spirit said to me one day. Okay, well, while you cheering everybody else on, I'm going to need you to get in the race. Huh? I'm going to need you to put them pom poms down. She's talking to me. Put them pom poms down and get in the race. Get in the race. I'm happy cheering everybody else on. Go, 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 go. He's like, I need you to put them pom poms down. I'm going to repeat that. Put them pom poms down and get in the race. Get in there and stop acting like you're too old. It's too late. This ain't going to happen. That ain't going to happen. It's never going to happen as long as you stay on the sideline with your pom poms. Get Put the pom poms down and get in the race. Get out there. But what if I don't come in first? What if I don't even come in third? What if everybody done ran past me? Get in the race. Because if you don't get in the race, you'll never know when you're going to win. You'll never know when it's time to birth it out. You never know. A woman knows when it's time. Why? Because the water breaks. The woman knows sometimes, you know, it can be premature and she's going into premature labor. So there's pains, there's this and the other, but the pain is there to let you know, number one, that there's still something kicking on the inside. And the baby kicks. If that dream is kicking, if that business is kicking, oh, I'm 60, I can't start a business. Oh man, I'm 40. I thought I'd be married by now, having two kids and a dog and a cat or whatever it is that you were thinking. And now you're 45 and it's not there. And so you're like, oh, well, is it ever going to happen? Well, if you don't stay in the race, then no. Put the pom poms down. I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna write. Put the pom poms down and get in the race. But you don't know what I've gone through. We have all gone through pain, gone through disappointment. I could write the book on disappointments. I could write the book on people thinking that I was never going to do or never going to amount. And if you have had the privilege and the opportunity to have people count you out, or people going to talk about you, people going to because anytime you're going to do something great for God, the enemy always starts when you're childhood, always starts, and he wants to show you like on a big screen all the people that have passed you up. You see what this one right here? They already got grandkids and you ain't even got, and these people been on their third marriage and you ain't even got your first one. These people done had 3 children, you still waiting on one. These people done got a house, they done got another house, they done got another, and you still in your 2 bedroom apartment. And see my point? That's why the Bible also says that you compare yourself to with somebody else, or to compare your life with somebody else's life. In doing so, you're not wise. And you're looking at even social media, and and they're, oh, everything is wonderful, yay, and da yay. You know how long nobody takes a first picture and go, oh, let's post that. And they're frowning, they're not dressed good. Nobody really does that. You're comparing your everyday, how did that saying go? Don't compare your everyday uh life, real life, to someone else's uh life where they have taken the picture, and now they've got this AI thing where they can put the makeup on your face and make you look wonderful. What is that called? Filters and all of this stuff. And this one man said, this was funny to me. He said that he went to pick up somebody from the airport, had not met them, but all he had to go on was their picture on social media. He said they had so many filters on, he couldn't even recognize that person. He's like, is that you? Take the filters off. This is you. This is who you are. And you serve a God that is great, that can do exceeding abundantly above all that you ask or think. So, what are you birthing? Selah. Answer your own question. What are you birthing? What is it that is on the inside of you that you feel like is never going to happen? It's never going to work. I'm coming after that today. And I'm doing that in my own life because I can't ask you the question um, unless the question was asked to me. So I got asked that question. So I'm asking that question to you. So what are you birthing? What are you still believing God for? What has He placed inside of you? There's marketing, there's strategies. And I'm going to tell you, if you want to be a sponsor of the Cheryl Boggs Show, I've got opportunities for you for commercials, for exposure, getting the word out about your business, your I am me. Hit me up. I can help get you the exposure that you need. Well, nobody seems to be calling. It's all about exposure. People need to hear about it more than just once. I'll come back to that on on another note. But my whole thing today is, what are you birthing? Are you birthing it out of fear? Are you going to birth it out of bitterness? Are you going to birth it out of, you ever wanted something, and so when you did get it, you had gone through so much, and now that you have it, you're like, oh God, am I going to lose it? That's not the biblical way. That's not God's way. God doesn't, He doesn't string you along like that one man with the, he has $1 on the end of a fishing pole. I don't know where all these little references are coming from today. But he has this, he has $1 or something on there on the end of a fishing pole, and the person is trying to grab it. He said, ooh, so close. God's not like that. He's not dangling, your dreams and your vision in front of you and going, ooh, oh, almost had it. He's not that way. He didn't put that dream or that vision inside of you to frustrate you. That's the enemy's job. That's the enemy. Because if you look at within yourself and you be like, I'm not this, I'm not that, and you start comparing yourself with other people got this, I don't have that. They can sing better, they can preach better, they got a better husband, they got a better job, they got a better this, they got a better that. And you can spend your time going, well, they got this better, blah, 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 blah. Ask me how I know. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, got the ankle bracelet. Because I spent so much time growing up thinking they do this so much better. People do so much better. Man, they're skinnier, they're prettier, they're this, that, and the other. And sooner or later, you're going to have to just stop and be like, everything that I need to fulfill what God has placed inside of me is inside of me. He already put it there. He would not tell you that He's going to use your life and then leave you frustrated. Now, I will say, it may not be the way that you and I think it ought to be. Now, I was the master of trying to figure it out because I'm a thinker. And I'm like, okay, we can do this, we can do that. You can move here, you can move that, you can do the other. And I remember the Holy Spirit saying to me, okay, you can retire from trying to be God. I got this. Oh, you mean to tell me I don't have to try to tell you how to figure it out and how to fix it? Because somewhere down the line, growing up, somebody said that I had to pray and tell you what to do. Mm. When the pressure was taken off of me, when I began to surrender my will to his will. Well, how come this hasn't happened to you yet? And how come you don't have no children yet? And how come you ain't married yet? And how come you ain't got no house yet? And how come, people be like, "And how come? And how come? And how come?" And you have to just quiet the noise and say, whatever my lot thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. So it didn't happen in your 20s. It didn't happen in your 30s. Now you're 40 and you're wondering, what in the world? But if God is building, even in the natural, building a skyscraper, you don't just dig a shallow foundation. Because if you do, you can build on it. But you're talking about shifting, you're talking about falling, you're talking about a building going. Don't you want what God has for you? Don't you want to stay in there and say, I want to birth what God wants me to birth? I want to be, I tell you, and this is a transparent moment because, I'm like, I'm like honest to a fault sometimes. But when I stopped trying to figure it out for real, when I stopped trying to answer how come and why come, and then feeling like, because it was more what people are thinking more so than life. Think about it. You could be perfectly happy traveling the world, and you may or may not have any children right now. You may or may not be married right now. You may not have grandkids right now. You may not have what other people have, but your life is good and you've learned how to be content, like Paul said, in whatever state you find yourself in. And people will try to make you feel guilty. Well, how come you don't have this? And how come you don't have that? And I was like, what are they thinking? Why are they thinking? What are they thinking about why I don't have certain things in my life? And when I stopped and I just said, you know what? If I needed that before now, then God would have given it to me. Oh, when I stopped letting the enemy just wreak chaos over my thoughts and over my mind, telling me what if and you shoulda, coulda, woulda, dida, but and you shoulda did that and you coulda did that, and you know what, you could have been this and you could have had that. And all you had to do was compromise, and all you have all of these things. But when I got to the point where I said, you know what, all I have needed, thy hands has provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. When I got to that point, and I want you to get to that point today, amen, big sis. When I want you to get to that point that says, all I have needed, God's hand has provided. If it has not come to pass yet, doesn't mean that God is mad at you and God is not going to work on your behalf and God is not this. Some things take time. Now you can build it like that. I don't know, was it sticks? What did that? I know that one of the little pig, I don't know what the first one built on. Was it sand? Somebody tell me whether it was sand. I don't remember. Um, I know it was sticks. And then I know that, of course, I know the one that was the bricks, and that I knew that. I don't remember what the first one was. I don't know if it was sand, but anyway, you don't want to build. You know, y'all know I sometimes I just have these songs that come in and be like one line. But there was a song my mom. I used to hear my mom hold to his hand, God's unchanging hand. Hold to his hand, God's unchanging hand, and build your hopes on things eternal, and hold to God's unchanging hand. When you get to that point where you say, I'm going to hold to God's unchanging hand, I'm going to birth out when it's time. When it's time, I'm going to birth out what God has placed inside of me. I don't care if you're 70, 80, it does not matter. As long as you have a pulse, you still have a purpose. Or as long as you are still breathing, you still have that opportunity to bring to pass that vision, that dream. Would we have all wanted all of our dreams and hopes and all of that to happen when we're 20? Of course. I went through a whole thing where I was like, God, this should have happened in my 20s. And this should have happened in my 30s. And this should have happened. And I'm just going all in. And this should have. And then I wrote a song about it. It's called Trust Me. It's on my testimony CD. And I was saying, did I miss you somewhere down the road? Did I, uh, you know, and I was just crying. I don't mean I don't mean the little cute cry. I mean the cry where it's like tears are flowing and you're just like, oh my God, that kind of cry. And I remember hearing inside of me, I heard this voice say, but can you trust me when it hurts? And can you trust me when I say no? And can you trust me when I tell you to let that go? Like, can you trust that I know why? Now, this didn't make it into the song, but he said, can you trust that I know why, even if I don't tell you? What? Can you trust that I know what's best for you? Next thing I know, my tears are drying up, and I'm going, you know what, Lord, I do. I do. I trust you. You've probably heard the song on the program. I used to play it a lot, but go to YouTube or look, go to wherever it's on Apple Music, it's on everywhere. It's called Trust Me by Cheryl Boggs. I'm telling you, when I wrote that song, there was so much deliverance in that because it says, I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and give you a future. Just trust me. Put your trust in me. And that's what I want you to do today. I want you to birth out. I want you to say, if it's not time yet, you don't want to push out anything prematurely, even though this is the ninth month. Some of you, that dream and that vision is ready to be birthed today. Do not have fear. Do not let fear grip you. Go ahead and birth that dream, birth that book, birth that record, birth that business. Put the application in for the new job, put the application in for the house. If you've worked on your credit, you've gotten, the last thing you want to do is to get in the house and then lose the house or get in the house. And then every month you're like, oh my God, Lord, you need a miracle every month to pay the house payment. No, no. Take that time, prepare, and this isn't really funny, but it'll sound funny. It's like there's some people, they buy a house and then they can't afford to furnish it. You don't want to do that either. See what I'm saying? There are times when things are ready, when you have prepared, when you have put some money aside. Because when you get that house, unlike when you're in an apartment, you're in a condo, you're in a townhouse, when the air conditioner goes out, ask me how I know. Because when I first moved here, I had a house. I've had two. Uh, and when the air conditioner, we couldn't figure out what the air conditioner. I mean, you talking about money, and they still couldn't figure out what in the world was up with that air conditioner. But now, I'm in this condo, and so when the air conditioner, when things, and in Texas, that's just unbearable to have your air conditioner go out. I just have to call, put in a maintenance request, and they was like they had to go through the wall, blah blah blah. But I wasn't feeling no pain because I didn't have to pay for it. So that to me is when I buy again, yeah, I was like, yeah, we need to get out of that house because by the 8 years, it was like it needed, excuse me, part of the roof and part of the fence and hot water heater. And I was like, oh, no. My point is prepare. Prepare for that dream. I don't care if it's $50, $100, you know. Put some money away, because that's what they don't tell you. Then everybody's talking, I want to be in full time ministry. Okay. What they don't tell you is when December comes, when November comes, you may not be having all of them engagements. Ask me how I know that. Because when I left my job years ago and moved here, I mean, I was out of the country, I know about 6 times. I'm in Antigua, I'm in Canada, I'm in Bermuda, I'm in the Bahamas. I just thought this was going to last forever. But nobody told me that in, what was it? I got a rude awakening in November of that same year when I moved here in 99 after traveling and just, being out of the country and just loving it. Puerto Rico, I was there as well. And then by November, my house payment was still due and people weren't bringing you in because we were in the holiday. And then December, nobody tells you that. Oh, I want to be in full time ministry. You better count up the cost. Get ready to birth it. The reason some things haven't happened yet is that God is saying, I need to prepare you. That's for some of you. Then on the other hand, those of you that's got that dream and God saying without fear, go ahead, birth it out. Go ahead, send that manuscript and get published. But what if nobody buys it? That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to obey God, get that manuscript, get it published, get it out there, and then call me and help you promote it so that people can buy it. So, um, if God has placed that dream inside of you, He's not just dangling a carrot. He's not just dangling and saying to you, I'm giving you this, but I'm not going to help you do anything with it. He's not that kind of a God at all. If He has placed it inside of you, if as you acknowledge Him in all of your ways, He will direct your path. He will give you the strategy. All you have to do is ask. What does James say? James 1 says, if any man lack wisdom, ask God. Ask Him. He'll give you direction. He'll give you the timing. He'll give you the purpose. He'll give you the skills. He'll give you what you need. I promise. He will. He's not just dangling a carrot in front of you. If He has placed that inside of you and He says it's time to launch that ministry, it's time to launch that book, it's time to finish that single, it's time, you count up the cost. It's time for you to put that application in again, for that promotion. But I done already tried it once. Like, hey, He ain't asked you that. Like that woman say, He ain't asked you all of that. If it's in you, put that application in. Well, they fired me from my last job. It doesn't matter. If you still have a pulse, you still have a purpose, and God still has a job. God still has a position. God still has something else for you to do. Reach out. Get off the side. I love that. I'm going to do something with that. Get off the sideline with your pom poms. Lay your palms down, cheering everybody else on, cheering everybody else in their race, and get in the race yourself. What are you birthing? What are you birthing? This is September. What is it? September, October, November, December. Oh, and then it's going to be a whole new year. Are you still going to be like, what did you do? What they call them things? Oh, New Year's resolution. Are you going to do that again? No. You're going to start now. And you're going to birth out what God has placed inside of you. And if it's not ready yet, you could be like that elephant, which takes 2 years in order for them to have a child or have an elephant. It takes 2 years. That daggone elephant is pregnant for 2 years. And you can't hold on to God for 6 months. You can't believe God for a year. That elephant stays pregnant for 2 years. Like I told you, I was at the zoo and I seen that big old elephant come through there. I thought, whoa. And then when you go to Africa on a safari, and that big old elephant, I'm like, I'm good. I want you to stay over there. But the whole thing, I'm using that elephant. Don't worry, like the dog get pregnant like every other day and they pushing out 10, 16 children. I mean, little puppies. I don't know how all of that work, but they be pushing it out. But the elephant takes 2 years. And I just thought that was so powerful. He said, "Why does it take you so long?" He said, "Because when I give birth, the ground shakes, meaning things happen." So if you're in that waiting period and you're wondering when things are going to happen, you hold on. You hold on to your faith. You hold on to what God has placed inside of you. And those of you that are ready to give birth without fear, give birth. Do what God has placed inside of you without fear and stop worrying about how it's going to happen and who's going to, and then ain't nobody helping me. No, 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 no. If if some people help you, then they will get the credit, and God will almost 99.9% of the time uh, make sure He's the only one that you are in need of help from. Because if the other people help you, then they can take the credit. But when you know it's nobody but God that did it, nobody but God made this happen, nobody but God, when you lay down at night, all you can do is say, "Lord, I thank you. God, I give you glory. I give you praise. I thank you." Get your dreams out, get your vision back out. Know that God is not a man that he should lie. And if he has placed that inside of you, when it says God gives us the desires of our hearts, he places that desire inside of us. If that desire does not go away and it's still there, then we've got to wait on his timing. And when God says it's time to birth it, it's time to push it out. For some of you, it is time. And you keep holding on to it, and it's time for that baby to come out. The baby can come out stillborn. We don't want that. What the army say, I think it's the army, be all you can be. Be everything without fear, everything that God has placed inside of you. Listen, there are some tremendous opportunities for you to be a part of the Cheryl Boggs Show. I am me. Let me know. I will be more than happy to help you with your marketing, with your strategies, with your exposing your ministry, exposing your gift, your books, your business to the world. I am me, or send me a message, send me an email. You can, the easiest one is CherylBoggsMusic@gmail.com. I would love to help get your commercials, get you prepared for your next level. God is not mad at you. He's madly in love with you. He's got great things for you. Well, I'm Evangelist Cheryl Boggs. You've been listening to The Cheryl Boggs Show, resting in His Word, heard here live every Monday, starting at 5 Central, right here on Fishbowl Studios, as well as on my Facebook pages and churchtalkmedia.net, Church Talk Radio. Hey, join me again next week. I certainly hope you will, and birth out what God has birthed inside of you without fear and without reservation. I will talk to you again and see you again next week. God bless.
Let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner!
Go.
Excellent.
Soccer is fun.
Yeah, I saw you guys out there.
We're the family.
Oh, I thought you were on my team.
Wait, I don't know. Just
always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
We said we'd never break the 3-second rule. Never do that. And never become a minivan mom.
Hey, Chris.
As parents, we say never a lot, but never happens. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Even though we didn't grow up together, he's my favorite brother.
Hey, sis.
I'm the baby of the family, and he's the gentle giant.
What you know about Port Georgia?
Man, please, that's a classic.
You know when they say people are a rare breed? Yeah, he's that.
I'm sorry, I'll be back in a few hours.
Don't worry, Cheryl. You know I'm for you.
I know.
Go get the football.
That was my favorite memory. He was always for ya. This is a true story of me, Bridget Floyd, and this guy, George Perry Floyd Jr., my big brother.
They say there are no excuses.
They say to just push hard.
They say to just go faster.
But when we're on the field, they don't know what's going on inside us.
How hard is too hard?
When do we get support?
When do we raise our hand and ask for help? We need each other.
Love. Your mind.
I debate all day. It's what I do. But there are some things that are undebatable, like your mental health, my own mental health. I was in a dark place when my brother passed away in a car accident. I've never been more devastated than the day I lost my mom. I was depressed, miserable, in ways I never imagined. I reached out, and my sisters came, my pastor, my therapist. They helped me get through it. I found that the more I spoke up, the healthier my mind became. The chaos that was in me began to subside. I was more focused, clear. When you love your mind, you can go so much further. That's not up for debate. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org.
Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. As veterans, we can tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. But you've never been interested in easy. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
It's something about having that piece of paper. Some people think that's worth more than my skills.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
You just gotta be so good they can't ignore you.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
Analytics and empathy. That's how I've gained clients.
I am more.
I'm more
than who I am on paper.